Okay. Now we can get down to business.
Okay.
Star Wars sorting.
So
Okay.
so we have all the movies here from
Yeah.
1 to now. So let's start at the
Yeah.
beginning. Let's go episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Okay.
So
Um,
when this came out, you and I would have been about the target age, like
for
properly
sure.
probably
I
for it.
was 12. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like maybe even a bit older because it was more the prequel trilogy was definitely younger. I'm just trying to think
Uh,
of like where this would land for me. I honestly didn't hate it. I think it might be one of the it's definitely not as good as any of the original 3. It's probably my favorite out of the prequel trilogy, and I think it's
okay.
probably better maybe than well, okay. So with the sequel trilogy, I'm just trying to think, is it better than 7? Because I think it's better than the other 2.
Man, the sequel trilogy has kind of just folded in on itself in this weird way where, like, the last one poisons everything to me a little bit.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It's hard for me to see straight with it because I definitely really enjoyed it in 2015.
sure.
Like, I went to see it a second time. I was generally vibing, like I was digging what was going on, but mostly because it was like kind of setting the stage for new stuff to happen,
Okay.
and then the events that then happened undermine
Yeah.
like those anticipations of like, oh, what's going on? Like, what's the deal with Ray? Like, who's your parents and whatever? Like all these discussions I was having, and then the answers are so lame that, that I don't know. Like that damages things. I'm
So
trying to think of just moments that are just awesome on their own, and it doesn't matter.
I'm going to
Like,
throw this into a category I think and you tell me what your opinion is. I think Phantom Menace is a solid B for
mhm.
initial reasoning.
Initial ranking,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so.
Because
I
the
like
problem
it,
here is it's
but
probably in between B and C
mhm.
somewhere, but we need to set kind of a precedence that everything else we can compare to.
Right, move things around as it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So that
okay,
brings us
so
to the
fine.
next one, Attack
Attack
of
of
the
the Clones,
Clones, episode 2.
which I'm a bit of an Attack of the Clones apologist because I really like the last 40 minutes.
Okay.
Because kind of just like everything just starts popping off, and I like that stuff. Like where it's just they're like everybody's in the gladiator, and then the war starts, and it's
Yeah.
just like half an hour of dizzying, like just creatures and robots and so many Jedis and so much fighting. Like when I was 15 or whatever, it was just like this rips. Like this is so good.
Sure.
And like Yoda comes out with his lightsaber, and that was such a crazy theater moment
Yeah, that's
of
true.
just people like I don't know if people were having a positive experience or not, but people were making sounds.
That
What? Like
yeah.
there was just something going on in that room. It was okay. That was crazy. Whether or not you like CG Yoda jumping around,
So this doesn't sound
we
to
hadn't
you like
seen
this is
that.
a C. This sounds like it's also a B for you.
It's hard for me to put it that low because I know there's like cringiest romance dialogue in the world in that movie,
Okay.
and it's really bad.
Okay.
But even the early goings, like I kind of love Coruscant, like
Okay.
and like that car chase and stuff that happens. Like there's a cool look to all that stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I have a hard time raining too hard on Attack of the Clones, despite its obvious issues.
I think we could probably
Like,
throw it in B right now. See,
okay,
because
do you
what?
hate it or?
No. What I'm kind of thinking here, like just already doing this
Mhm.
exercise, is I think the reason why the prequel trilogy might be hated at all is because it simply isn't an A or S, which the originals were easily.
Right. I
But
guess.
but
Although
then we get to episode
I
3, and this is a C for me.
oh no.
I hate it.
Is it like the
But
stitching into 4, or is it the aggro Anakin, or what's not clicking?
the pacing's bad. The lightsaber fights are pointless and bad. The dialogue is bad. I don't know if that's a writing issue or his delivery or a little bit of both columns. There's just so much about it that, like, this should be the moment where it felt like it all came together to form the most biggest badass in, like, villain history, and it just feels flaccid.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because I was pretty stoked on this one, too. I guess I would have been 18 when this came out.
Which one do you think you were more stoked on between 2 and 3? If you had to throw one a little
3
lower.
for sure. Like, that's the thing. 2 was always like the dark horse, like the Black Swan or whatever. Like, it was like the least of the prequels.
So that would be more appropriate. I think 1 might even be down here too. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. I mean, we just kind of.
1 is still so weird.
I loved 1 at the time because that hype cycle was insane. Like, the marketing around that movie was like, you're going to Pizza Hut, you're going to Taco Bell, like you're drinking Pepsi, like everything is like Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, like get ready. And I was getting the book from the library, like anything about anything pertaining to it was just like, oh my god, what? 2 blades? Like, it was just nuts.
We were making a whole bunch of trips. At the time in Airdrie, there was a store called San, Saan. It was in the mall.
I hated that store.
Yeah, they sold figures, though, for episode 1. So we were making weekend trips every weekend to see if any new figures came in. That
store always struck me as like, is this like a department store? And it seemed to only have like fabrics.
Yeah, it's a clothing store, but at the very front they had a few toys.
Okay.
It's what they
I never
did.
found that section or stopped going when I was like, this is just fabrics. Like, I don't belong here. I'm going down to the Treasure Cove or whatever.
Yep, the Treasure Cove as well, and Brian's card shop.
Yeah.
We would also hit up Brian's card shop since it was just down the street. Anyways.
Wait a minute. Where did my file go? I'm sorry, I'm having troubles again. Oh, it's alphabetized now. Very exciting.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
We did it.
I think we did it.
We need to think about episode 4 for a second here.
Okay, episode 4 was episode 4 was too important for me for a while there. Like, it was like my favorite videotape, and I only knew of that for a long time in Star Wars. Like, that there was Empire and Return of the Jedi wasn't like known to me because we didn't have those. I just watched A New Hope like 50 times. So that was the coolest thing in the world.
This is where it's hard.
That's gotta be S class for me, but
this is where it's hard though, is because that movie, without that movie, none of this other stuff exists. And like, depending what era you were born, it is the most important touchstone in all of this.
Right. But it's the beginning of all of it.
I honestly can't have Empire anywhere but S.
Well, sure.
Because Empire is just a strong film. Like, if you ignore the Star Wars part, it's just strong. Like, it's fun. It's well-paced. Everything about it.
The only thing to me is, like, it's kind of doesn't end. Like, it has no, like, putting it down. Like, I mean... Whereas, the original, it's like, we don't know if this is going to hit, so it just kind of ends with celebrating the victory that just occurred and doesn't necessarily leave much out there other than they don't kill Darth Vader because it's like, no, he's too dope. Can't do that. So he just kind of gets thrown off into space.
The problem, like, honestly...
You know he'll be back, but yeah.
The problem, honestly, I'm having is that Empire is such, like, a bigger quality jump to me than 4 that I don't think I like them in the same tier. Like, I think Empire is a tier above.
It has
Does that make
to
sense?
Notch higher, I guess. I'm trying to think I'm not trying to like, oh, I gotta start crapping on Empire somehow then to stop this from happening.
Yeah, it's just like really toxic way to go about it.
there's no Jawas in it, so like it obviously can't be the best. It doesn't even have Jawas.
Also, Return of the Jedi is actually my favorite, but I can recognize that's at probably best in A. So
I feel so weird about Return of the Jedi because like I think on IMDb I have it at 9, but I love it completely. I wouldn't say it's worse. It's just last time I watched it when I was like trying to think about it, it's like this movie's crazy. Oh, sorry, I'm talking really. My wife's not here, but I just know I'm doing that.
Yeah. Okay. You're getting excited.
Okay, like that movie is structured so weird. It's like 2 movies. Like it's like the conclusion of everything that was going on in Empire, and then a completely new dilemma needs to be cooked up.
Yeah.
And that cooking up of a new thing to me was like, this is so weird. Like, I don't know.
And
I love everything that happens, but it's like really janky plot wise.
Because that new dilemma that comes up has 3 sides to it. It has Luke and Vader, it has the rebels on the ground, and it has the Starfleet.
But that sets up like some of my favorite stuff ever of them like cutting from action scene to action scene to action scene, and it's just like, this is awesome. Like I don't know if they've ever gotten there again. Like
they've tried, but no, they haven't.
that was like maybe the points I was giving Rogue One was like, this is the closest when that final 30 minutes or whatever, like where it's like there's the fleet battle and ground stuff. I was like, this is only 2 like coals in the fire, but this is still dope.
Yeah.
Like because it's reminding me of how amazing that triple front situation was in Return of the Jedi. So like, but yeah, it's like almost just from like from a film structure point of view, this is bad, but like I don't care. Like like all the stuff that happens at the beginning is pretty cool, and then it's like the best space battle stuff they've ever done, and meaningful lightsaber battle stuff happening. Oh my god, though. Sorry, harkening back, like some of the shade that Episode 4 rightfully gets is the lightsaber stuff is like so bad.
Yeah,
but it's like it's like Alec Guinness in his like late 50s versus David Prowse in like this weird costume. Like it's and like the rules have not been established at all as to what this is. So it's just like classic Shakespeare fencing kind of stuff. And it's so cheese compared to like everything that happens later. And actually that's something I felt like the best lightsaber stuff to me is the prequels. Like they figured something out.
I do not agree at all. That's easy.
Is it because of the meaningful duel in Empire, or is it?
No, it's because I like more brutal. Like I'm fighting for my lifestyle. I don't like floaty, like spinning a sword around really quickly laser show.
Well, the Nick Park or whatever, like they kind of brought in some like martial arts cinema stuff.
I don't think it fits well.
Phantom. Like that Duel of the Fates stuff was just like, oh, this is like next level Jedis at their peak kind of stuff. Like this isn't.
But for different reasons. I don't think the actual choreography is amazing. I think it's that the characterization of how they all fight separately and at the same time is like amazing. That scene is easily the best part. Like there's a reason people bring that scene up. It's very,
the Duel
very
of the Fate
good.
scene?
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily just like the swordsmanship stuff. Like I really like, actually, if there's one thing I will give the sequel trilogy, I really like how every time they're fighting, it looks like they're trying to fucking murder each other.
Okay. Or like
I think that's how I like how Siths fight. I like the end fight in Return of the Jedi between Vader and Luke, where he gets him to like break and like really give in to like wanting to kill him, basically.
Right. I feel like Vader versus Luke stuff is a lot of like the thing that's really awesome about it is the dialogue for stuff.
Yeah.
Like the actual blades clashing moments aren't
totally
even going for the same kind of.
It's the mental fight they're doing with each other,
right?
With the blades just kind of being there.
Like and especially in Return, it's like I don't want to fight at all.
Yeah,
like that's not the Jedi path and that whole dilemma. But oh my man, McDermott in that movie though is extraordinary.
Yeah,
like what I don't know. I'm having a hard time like putting any of the original trilogy, anything lower
Also,
for all of them.
sorry, I just decided episode 4 is going to go to S because it started everything. Because it's not
okay.
I think just based on the merit that they didn't know this would go anywhere. Like, you're right, Empire needs a conclusion. It also kind of needs a start because it doesn't do a whole lot of character building like until later on. So like,
well, just kind of, yeah, it hits the ground running again. It's setting up Hoth.
It's a sequel. Like, it is a straight up sequel, but I think the groundwork and all the real good filmmaking stuff really does come from 4, even though I don't like it as much. I still think it's probably important.
We're just talking, right? We're not recording this because I have not been.
No, I'm recording it for both of us.
Oh, okay, good, because I don't have an Audacity thing going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have on the screen the video of like me putting it together and us talking.
I just feel okay. I just feel like I don't know. Now I'm just thinking about Yoda and the puppetry and how amazing that was.
It's really good.
But like just that Frank Oz performance stuff. Like this is the thing though. Like whenever I'm talking about it, I'm always talking about like the original tapes I had. Like
right.
Once Lucas started changing it, I'm not even like necessarily getting into the thing like getting mad at him for messing with his work. Like he's the guy. To some extent, he can, add a smidge of pain here or whatever. But that's not what I was watching over and over and over again.
Sure.
So
agreed.
I just don't even know. Like I'm assuming CG Yoda was never added to Empire, but I don't know. Because he started doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, hey. Like, and some of it made sense. Like, there's a point where, like, the Emperor shows up in Empire, and in the original, it's like
the monkey face or whatever.
Like, just really bulbous eyes and stuff. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Now we know what he looks like. I'm going to patch this in. Like, I'm going to fix this. And it's like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. It's McDermott now. That makes sense.
How do you feel about?
I understand why you do that.
How do you feel about Anakin being young Anakin at the end of Return, just awkwardly standing there?
Initially, I found it extremely weird. I sort of get it in that it's like that's the Anakin you've seen before, so it being a new actor is weird.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like, I still felt that moment always sort of worked though, because you just saw what Vader really looks like.
Yeah.
But he's all scarred up and dead. And now he's not, and it just looks like a jovial man who is clearly that same guy. So I never thought that moment was weird.
Also, it had like, the benefit of like them being there at the same time during that era and not being weirdly out of place looking with like. Well, you look way different than the other two here.
Like, if they want to wait like 40 years and then film like old Hayden Christensen,
that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool.
Kind of like that makes more sense.
That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I don't know. On the eyebrows thing, they got rid of his eyebrows, and that was always like a what?
Yeah.
Why did that need to happen? But it's like, no, his hair follicles would have been burned off because of the lava planet, which hadn't been established when I made this in '83. But there's a lava planet. Yeah.
Yeah. So dumb. Let's talk about Rogue One.
Okay. Because chronologically, I guess.
Yes.
I really was jazzed about it then.
I still kind of like it.
I haven't watched it in a while. I feel like if there's anything I would knock it's pacing.
Yeah.
But because it's like
it also doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, which, like, for better or worse, is like it feels like a heist movie in that universe. Yeah, it can be okay.
Well, because it got to deviate from like needing to carry these characters forward. It's like, no, like definitive stuff can happen to these characters and they can matter without still living at the end, which was like a realization while I was watching of like, oh, they're all dead. And that's crazy and awesome. Like, it kind of brought gravity to it.
Sure.
And again, I really dug the kind of ground battle, space battle intercut. And the moment it happened in the theater was like, oh, wow, over the top. It was like when they just seamlessly spliced in Gold Leader and Red Leader into the space battle. And I was like, of course they could do that, because it's just footage of them in a cockpit And there's totally extra footage of that having been from the movie. Like, I was just like, oh, genius movie. I just like started clapping. Like, I didn't, but I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
mentally
solid
clapping.
business.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you.
I was really stoked on that. So
Also, that ending with Vader just like it being all dark and Vader just like being lit up by his lightsaber, just like, oh my
yeah,
god, here we go.
I found like the logic of the way it ties into 4 kind of insane though. Like, I went home at
Yeah,
4 and it's just like, this is so weird because like it's like they just peeled out of the bank parking lot with a loot sack,
totally.
and then the cops show up at the beginning of the next movie and it's like, what are you talking about? What? And it's like, what are you were so made at the scene of the crime. What are you talking about, Leia?
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
it introduces this weird hole that didn't exist before, of just like, you can't even be incredulous about this. Like, we're on a diplomatic mission. There's no way that makes any sense with the way Rogue One ends.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's really disjointed, but only if you watch them back to back like that within the same like small time frame. Otherwise, you kind of forget that. Yeah. What do you think of CGI Leia?
Looks super weird. And they like end their scene with it. I also at the time thought, oh dude, what's the guy's name? Peter
Dinklage?
Oh my goodness. No. But Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh, yeah, him. I can't remember
Yeah,
his name.
it's just like, I think it's Peter. Anyway, like, he's all CG in that, and I thought that was super weird too.
Yep.
Like, it was just like, oh, this guy died like 22 years ago.
What do you think of
like,
hologram Tupac playing at Coachella?
I was there, and I thought that was weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, yeah, it's just like, and like, there's news now of like, oh, James be animated for new stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, that's not the hill I'm gonna die on, because I wasn't a kid in the 50s. But it's yeah, legacy, like image rights and all that kind of stuff. It's my understanding that they were fine with, they licensed out like I feel so silly that I don't know his name.
Which, man, Peter something.
Yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin's actor.
Yeah,
like I'm thinking of all the wrong Peters. It's like Peter Benchley, Peter Ustinov. It's like, no, totally
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, Peter Stormare. It was him. Shortly before his film debut.
Yeah.
And Fanny and Alexander. Okay, I'm just gonna look it up to satiate that while we move on.
Okay, well, we haven't moved on yet. I think Rogue One is a solid A, just based on what we have in B right now. If that makes sense. I don't like it being in the same thing as Return, though.
Peter Cushing. I just wanted to get. Okay.
I don't like it being in the same slot as Return of the Jedi, because I think Return of the Jedi is so much better.
It can't. I guess like we could start sliding down into C, but like with an asterisk that it's like, I really actually dig the prequels. I don't want to be a jerk to them.
Check this out.
Okay.
Add a row below. This is absolute trash.
Okay.
So this feels a little bit better now, moving everything else down one, basically. And then
like, I feel like Rogue One is truly a good B movie.
Yeah.
Like, that makes more sense to me. Whereas, like, there's giant caveats with the prequels where it's like, okay, aside from the dialogue being pretty uniformly bad, Ewan McGregor's pretty good. Like, there's, it's like, that's not that compelling of an argument. I also, like, I just live on Reddit a lot of the time, and I think modern teens unironically love the prequels. I think it's unironic, but it's hard for me to suss out because they're memeing it up a lot, and it might be at the film's expense, but I don't know. Like, because it also ropes in like, oh, they really like, the Clone Wars TV show or Rebels or whatever, and characters from the original trilogy start, or like from the prequel trilogy start popping up in there.
Sure.
So it's like, oh, they've been on so many more adventures with Obi-Wan than I have, so I don't know. Like, that's beyond me. What is below? Is it D? We're putting Clone Wars in D right now?
Yes.
Oh man, I'd kind of want it in the C as well, but I guess if you're just saying it, well, wait, but you said Revenge of the Sith was your least favorite.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna like work those out.
This is sort of nuts because like it's sort of against some of the things I think, but
How do you feel about
I
this right here?
switching them. Oh, okay. I might upgrade
Where
attack though.
How do you feel about this? Let's get crazy.
Okay. I
Right
feel like
there.
we're being really posy on Jar Jar in ways people aren't, but I
don't care about Jar Jar. Honestly, Jar Jar's not in that movie as much as people like to pretend he is, even.
And
He's
it doesn't
annoying,
bother me,
but
and I was sort of reinvigorated by like that fan theory that he was going to be secretly evil.
Yeah. I mean,
I
Darth
love that
Jar Jar
notion.
is the best thing.
Well, because it's like it's such a great like, oh, if it's like a flipped script on Yoda where he seems like nothing but he's extremely powerful, it would be like the reverse of that, but dark side. I was like, that would have been sweet had that been the plan, but it's impossible to know.
So,
Yeah.
okay, let's discuss these a little further because there's a little bit of contention here for sure. If I were to give these movies between episodes 2 and 3 specifically, I would say I liked 2 more than 3. And it sounds like you are saying you like 3 more than 2. So it sounds like we're going to cancel each other out.
Sure, that might be the case. Like, I kind of like how 3 stitches into 4, even though it's kind of ham-fisted. Like, Amidala just dies, and that she has to because that's what happened. And it's like, okay, like, really not a great way to have it happen.
Right.
Vader yelling no was kind of always corn, but I was just happy it was James Earl Jones's voice. Like, there's like, oh, well, this is kind of great, but kind of incredibly dumb, but kind of great. Like, it's just this like weird crossroads.
Are we both under the like agreement that episode 1 feels okay, 1 tier above both of them?
I'm trying to think because
if any, like, I kind of don't mind it slumming it either with all 3 of them in there, but
no,
I like episode 1 more, I think, than even 2, obviously, and I like 2 more. Because
I always loved the pod racing. Like, it's been tarnished by like decades of people ragging on it, and also like the third time I went to see it in theaters, my friend's mom fell asleep watching it, and I was like, "What's going on?" It's like, it's a new Star Wars. And it's like, it was the first time the notion that someone might not like it was introduced to me, because I was just on hype planet, like totally in the clouds about it. It was like, the new Star Wars is out and we can just pay money and go watch it whenever we want. This is a miracle.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Can you imagine?
So, yeah.
Actually, I can't imagine because they did those special re-releases, special edition re-releases in theaters like a few years before that, and I did that.
Yeah.
So
I did do that too. Even though those were some objectively bad stuff, like CG Jabba. Like,
yeah. Oh my god.
I was just like, that. It was still like, hey man, I saw Empire in theaters, and Empire they barely monkeyed with it all. There was like I'm trying to think back on it. It was like, I remember a shot of Vader's shuttle leaving Bespin or something. I was like, that's fine. No issue with that. And I don't know, like maybe an extra shot of the Wampa or something. Like, there was like a handful of moments in it.
Yeah.
But it really was just that movie again. And I was happy to see it on a big screen. Whereas, I remember more of the monkeying. I still think they screwed up on Return of the Jedi. Like, before they even got to the, hey, we put Anakin in it now thing, like they just screwed up so many things in the special edition of that movie. Like, they changed the end song. Nobody wanted that. They changed Jabba's band, and it's like, nobody had issue with this. Like, it was just changing things that's just like, they nailed the puppetry in Return of the Jedi. I don't know why you're pasting over it to, like, what were you doing? So that was the first one. I was like, this is strange.
Yeah.
Maybe George Lucas is like, just, I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah.
But anyway, just an aside, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like where it is now is, wait, is it in C or B? Okay, if it's in B, that's about where like 12-year-old me would have had it, I guess, in relation to the others.
Like,
And I
I
want to
think I would
honor
have been
that, I guess.
13. I would have probably put it in A at that time. I have
Okay.
watched it recently, and the fact that like it's still watchable to me means that it's higher than a C in my mind.
Okay. What is putting Return in A instead of S?
I don't think it does anything as special as the other two. Just straight up.
Okay.
That's really all it
Man.
is. It's not even so much that there's a failure on its part, it's that the other two are so solid.
I don't know. Like now I'm just thinking like, because like other than it was all that existed from this universe for me for a long time, like I think it's better than New Hope, maybe, in terms of just like highest highs that happen in the movie. Like I love
but
the speeder bike stuff.
New Hope is the
I know it's like the origin
that's-
point, so it's
yeah.
kind of getting a bonus point for creating all of it.
because
And I don't
wouldn't-
necessarily disagree.
Because
But
yeah, like
oh,
I wouldn't
man.
mind even putting those on the same level. I honestly think Empire is
Okay.
just better. Like I just think that movie's so good.
A cut above.
Yeah,
I'm trying to,
but then
I definitely
okay,
dig
so
watching it, and a lot of the stuff in it, like it's certainly darker. Like Vader's just choking out everybody.
here's
in
the
that
thing
movie.
that I'm already noticing the problem here is though.
Yeah,
That's going to be the only S tier movie.
if
and I
we
don't
go
know-
by that metric.
I almost have to like wonder if we should like say S tier is probably like 90% or above or whatever,
Mhm.
right? Like it's exceptional.
Or I think we could start going into the Devil May Cry rating system and have SSS, SSS, and then A. You know what
So,
I'm saying?
every single movie is just on a different tier, basically.
It's some level of S tier.
Uh-huh.
Like it's just like, yeah, 4, 6, 5 on the S scale. And
So-
then human movies start entering it. But that it's a total fanboy kind of move, it doesn't seem, rational
Right.
to do it that way. But
And
I'm
we're
just
nothing
trying-
if not rational, for sure.
yeah. Okay, what is it that's like upgrading Empire? Because I do really like it. I just don't know why it's like a cut above. Like it's one of those trilogies where it's like each one makes me want to watch the next one. Like I'm just gonna pop Empire in and then I'm good. Like it doesn't have
really?
that. I have
do
to watch
that.
Return. Okay.
It's rewatchable in the way the other twos aren't for me.
I'm trying to think of its best sequences. Like I like the Hoth stuff. But doesn't the Yoda stuff kind of drag if it doesn't have a destination? Like Luke's just kind of out of the movie for a while. Well, the cool fugitive stuff is going on.
Yeah,
with
I don't
Han
like
Solo.
I don't like Luke until Return of the Jedi. I'm okay with that. I hate that character.
Okay. And I love Yoda, but it's just kind of like slow stuff is going on.
Yoda
But
man.
I love that stuff.
You know?
Yoda man, yeah.
You remember?
Why was the scene where he's fighting like Ghost Vader so slow and weird?
Ghost Vader.
I don't
Yeah.
love Irvin Kershner's decision there. I don't know. Where it's all like smoky and I don't know. I'm trying to nitpick. I'm just like Return is getting shortchanged to me somehow because like those Ewoks, Ian McDermott's excellence, like there's some really high moments there. That A-Wing crashes into the bridge of the Super Star Destroyer and then it crashes into the Death Star and I go, what? Whoa, best models in the special effects game. If that didn't win best visual effects, y'all screwed up at the Academy.
There is like another way I the reason, so I put percentages here basically.
Oh, okay.
Now.
I'll zoom in.
Now, like the way I would look at this is that all three of these are here, and then this is probably
That's where I've
here.
like traditionally put them on like an IMDb.
And this is
I'm just like,
probably
these
where
are fantastic movies.
well, because then this upgrades Rogue One, I think is better than Episode 1.
Okay.
and it splits that up for me. And also, it's going to be a little bit easier to find out where Force Awakens is, because that's basically episode 4, but not as good and not important.
All right. Okay, if we want to start talking sequels. Man, so they brought back Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
That's a feather in their cap, right?
I like Rey, Finn, and Poe. I actually like them, which is why when we get to episode 8, I'm going to shit all over it for a while.
Okay, interesting. Okay, we're gonna have some conversation.
I like those characters, or at least what I thought they could do with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to put my head in the space of where I was when Force Awakens came out. I didn't know what was coming, and it seemed like the standard, this is a fanboy movie redoing the thing that they grew up and loved with new characters, and I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, I got over that. Like, I laughed at it here and there. My favorite example is when they're talking about fighting Starkiller base. Yeah. They do a moment where it's just like, this is the original Death Star, and this is Starkiller base, and it's just 10 times bigger. Yeah. It's like, that's okay. Like,
just the escalation.
This is like a grade school notebook Star Wars movie in like 1995 before any sequel came out. Like, that's just kind of what a kid would come up with as like the bigger, badder thing. And they actually did it and spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make it happen. And what it does is, like, it was only highlighted to me like through reading stuff about it. It's like, once it sucks the star dry, why does it need to shoot the planets? Like, it's done.
Right, yeah.
You killed the solar system by doing that. So just use that energy to do whatever. Like, it's a star drinker. It doesn't even need to shoot lasers. So, like, if they just had, like, this crazy star-eating thing, that would almost be better. But they had to have a big beam go out because that's what happened in 4.
Totally.
And it's like, no, dude, I know it was super sick when that happened, but you can do it different. But okay, maybe moment to shine on Rogue One. When they use the Death Star in that movie, sick. Yeah. I thought it was awesome because it's like, it is not quite at planet destructing levels yet. So you just get to see it kind of level a mountain and a city. And it was still like, when it eclipsed the sun of that world, that was like so dark. Like, that was way cooler than any of the cheap model stuff they were able to do in the 70s.
Totally.
Like, if there was a shot on Alderaan of people going like, what the fuck is that? Like, they needed that to have that dread happen. And they had that moment in Rogue One. I was like, okay, good thoughts. Good creative decisions happening here.
I think that's why that's an A. That's a cut above what most of these movies have done, honestly.
Yeah, for any of like the Disney era, that one had like the best pulls and the most creative like twists on things. Of just like, K2 was great. I just love that droid. I bought a Lego of him.
Okay.
Like, it's just like, he's got dual pistols at some point when he gets going down. It's like, this is just great. This is just a great idea that didn't happen before.
Right.
With like a droid fending off people so they can steal the plans or whatever. Like, this is just solid decisions happening. Donnie Yen and his bro. Like, there's, I don't know, that whole kind of like sequence of everybody's heroic sacrifices was just like, this is chaining together extremely well. Like, I went home and bought Battlefront DLC because I was just so stoked on that planet and shit.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, okay, just cementing its A status.
I'm very okay with it being an A. That being said, I think this is a solid B for me.
At the outset, I was pretty positive about it, like in 2015.
Don't worry, we're gonna get to what's in the D.
Okay.
Pretty quick here.
Oh my god, it's tough though, because it's like my emotional reactions when I was watching it versus like when I revisit stuff. Like, some thinking changed for me with the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
But I guess we'll get into it. Do we just want to get into A, or should we take a little side journey to an easier topic and just talk about Solo?
How do you feel about episode 7, first of all? If you think about it in terms of percentage,
I never got
score,
mad at it. A friend
would
of
you
mine
give it
got
between
really...
a 70 to 80%? Like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
higher
Yeah.
than like an average.
Like
Maybe.
on IMDb, I think I gave it a 7 or an 8, something like that.
Okay.
Like I thought it was a solid movie. I liked Kylo. I thought Chewie had a great moment when Han gets killed. Like there was stuff in it that I was like, you know what, that was just a good moment. So
Yeah.
I kind of had a solid time with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though, yeah, like the redundancy stuff, the patterned after 4, I get it, but I don't know. It didn't bother me in the moment. So yeah.
This is actually bugging me too. Sorry, I'm just gonna make a change here. I hate that I like fucked up the ranges here. So
D and then F.
This would be 60.
Okay.
Then this would be 50% to 60, right? I hated that one category had 20% of flow in it.
And then we got to put F as below 50.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, this makes sense to me.
Why is it green? Like it almost looks... Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's sickly. It's sickly
because if anything, it should be the other way around. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But okay, whatever.
Also, why is this like the exact same yellow? Can we get like a different one? Oh God, they're all... Why don't you give me more colors on this? What the...
Contrasts, come on. Okay, let's change S to like royal purple because they're kings.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That would actually, we could do like tiers of like what you would get in an RPG.
Okay.
Or something.
Oh yeah, purple. That's like rare.
And then this would be...
No, S has to be purple.
Yeah. No, S is legendary.
Oh, okay.
And then blue.
Like gold.
This one was green. Then white for common.
Like, should F be like gray or something? Because just like you don't want to pick this up.
Yeah.
Like this is below your level. You don't even want it.
So underneath common is usually trash tier. And that's usually a gray. But that looks too much
bland and
is
bad.
there a white? Let's do a darker gray. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, now. Okay, we added a full tier. I think let's quickly actually, no. Let's get everything down.
I don't know if
and then we'll shuffle.
Any of our current stuff falls into the D for me. I don't think so. Now I also feel better about like the mid-tier movies not being totally trash because they're at the bottom. Okay.
Let's do Solo. That's
okay.
I think this is an easier talk.
Okay. Solo, man, I went into it with really low expectations as part of it, just as a justification, I guess. That movie to me is such a like, you can just put it on while you're like doing dishes or something and it's just there. Like it's not offensive to me, but it's kind of not special either. I don't know. I like moments in it. I like characters.
How do you feel of it?
But I kind of hate
C?
Looking at it. What's that? Under C?
Would you give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10?
Oh man, it can't hang.
You don't
Revenge
think so?
And Attack for me, like it's not as good as those movies.
Oh,
but I don't.
This is where I have a problem because this is leagues of like for me. This would be what I would do.
That's
easily.
The C. Oh,
That's why we're gonna have an issue. I think here.
Okay, because like I don't dislike it. I actually was like pleasantly okay with like watching it. It's just I kind of went in with like this kind of failed. Like I saw it a couple weeks after it came out.
Okay.
So it was like, oh, this opened kind of low. Reviews are kind of low 70s or whatever. I was kind of like, oh man. And then watching it, you get a lot of Chewie. I like Chewie. That's a running theme. You get some Chewie. I actually thought Alden did a pretty good job of just being on the screen and being some approximation of Han Solo. I didn't necessarily like, oh, this is Harrison Ford. It's just like, no, this is just some adventurer guy.
Yeah.
Like it never bothered me.
He's a puckish rogue.
Yeah. There was stuff though, like the Ron Howardness of it. Like there was moments where I was just like, man, this is just some bland stuff going on. Like specifically when he's trying to escape Corellia. It's like this. It's like just looks like some shitty train station in Russia. Like it doesn't look exotic enough to be a Star Wars movie to me at that point. It was just like, this is like some photo of some Polish immigrants or something in like the 40s. Like this is so weirdly not Star Warsy right now. And I was kind of like, ugh. But then later you get the crazy, like a giant creature near the vortex and all that kind of stuff. You get the stupid Taras Kasi call out. Like it was like touching on like dumb Star Wars stuff that I was like, that PS1 game, like just stuff that I was fine with. It's just like aiming low, and it hit solidly. Like Woody Harrelson, I actually liked. The train sequence reminded me of an N64 level. Like it was like the train heist. I actually was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But then I was supremely underwhelmed by like the leader of the like pirates is just some lady, like just some red-haired lady. I was like, I thought that was gonna be some dope alien or cyborg or something, and it's just some lady. Like I was really like, bleh.
From the way you're talking about this and how I feel about it, I think we're gonna put it here for now because we're gonna do some shuffling. Man.
I think
we're gonna
I might
do
have
a
to
bunch
argue
of
for one of those prequels to get upgraded, but I don't know which one yet.
Or like maybe.
But okay, what do you love?
Okay,
I guess what do you like about it?
I think it's a solid 6 out of 10. Like I think it's the low end of the C.
Like, do you like the Kessel Run dilemma they cook up?
Honestly, I think it's just fun, but in the terms of like this tier maker, I think it's just better than the other two. I really don't care for these other two movies that much. I don't like their CG effects. I don't like how they're written. I don't like their pacing. There's so much about them I just don't like, but they're fun. Like they're still fun. I don't hate them. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where Solo sits for me too.
All right, man. Okay, we can maybe open one of them. Thinking through, like I definitely had a moment in the past few months maybe where I was just like, dude, I gotta watch episode 2 right now. Like I just like popped in and watched it at night, and there's definitely shortcomings, but man, do I like.
Honestly, there's shortcomings for all of these movies if you dig enough. Like
just the CG effects thing, fair. Like there's some really just animated business going on. Okay. Anyway, all right.
I honestly think the pod race for episode 1 puts it in its own tier for me. Notch. It's so dumb. It's so fucking stupid. But we can like just talk. About that
if we're gonna call out just like positives, Liam Neeson puts it up a tier for me too.
Liam Neeson's
like,
very good.
He's really good. Like Ewan gets a lot of praise now, but like Liam was a cut above that. Like
I mean, Ewan's great too, though.
Ewan,
like he is one of the saving features of the other two movies for sure. He's one of the best parts. Every time he's on screen, it's a good part.
And Portman is definitely the low.
Portman's
she's just not into it. She's not into it, and you can just see it. Yeah.
Okay, now that we're all mad, we have to talk about episode 8.
Okay.
So episode 8.
Yeah.
Is F. Let's move on to episode 9.
No, okay, we gotta talk about episode 8.
Yeah.
Okay, because unlike 7, where like as I was watching it, I had no qualms, and it was only with like talking about it and seeing it again that I was kind of like, oh man, yeah, there's some pretty lame stuff in here. Episode 8, it was like during the movie, there was moments that I was just like, oh Jesus, what is this? Like during the experience, my initial viewing of it, and that wasn't a good feeling.
You know what's weird? I've never seen a movie where I felt. Have you ever felt that like butterflies in your stomach, but for like something bad happening, where you feel kind of like pins and needles or something, and you're just like I felt that in the movie as I was watching it, and it's the first time I've ever felt that way, and I don't know why.
What was the moment that like started that feeling? Because like I definitely wasn't minute 1. Like it took a while during the movie for kind of
Casino Planet.
Casino Planet, okay.
That's like, where it hit hardest anyway.
I'm trying to think. It was almost like a 3 strikes thing. Like
Holdo sucks. I fucking hated Holdo. Like right from the get-go. The
Who's
purple-haired commander lady.
Oh no, okay, that sucks, dude. I love Laura Dern as an actress.
Yeah,
So
I do
was
too.
like, I was totally like, oh great, Laura Dern's here. And yeah, the way she's like just immediately condescending to Poe is so hard to take.
Yeah.
Because it's like completely unearned. Like, it's just like, why is this happening? But I'm trying so hard not to be mad at Laura Dern because it's not her script.
And it's not her fault.
But
she's a great actress. She
yeah,
obviously
okay,
gave what they wanted her to give.
Just I had a weird kind of ride with that character specifically, but yeah,
because right after she does the
structuring-
Holdo maneuver, which is arguably probably the reason to watch this movie, is to see that one part.
Oh my god. Okay, there's so many things in 8, dude. 8 totally destroyed my mind. Like as I was watching it, honestly, Strike 1 actually I said it wasn't minute 1, but it was probably minute like 4. It is the prank call that Poe does to the bridge of the ship. It was just like, what are we fucking doing here? This is like a comedy? Like, it was so jokey ass. Like, I was just like, okay, not a great bit. Like, but I guess maybe it was trying to like, oh, remember in episode 4 when Han Solo's like, hey, nothing to see here, don't worry about it, like on the radio, trying to break Leia out. And then he just shoots the radio and says, boring conversation anyway. There's jokes you can do in the Star Wars universe. It makes sense. But it was just right out of the gate. It just was so silly. And it immediately made like Domhnall Gleeson's character just a total joke.
It's funny because I never even considered that. Like, I forgot that part happened, frankly.
Yeah, it's right away, and like it's amidst stuff that I was liking, because like the bombing run stuff is like, oh, it's like World War II bombers like attacking the ship. That's kind of cool, but
sure, yeah,
that joke was just like, I don't know about this. And then Superman Leia in space was such a like jump in her abilities to my knowledge at the time. I was like, what is going on? Like, it's like just stated she is the sister of a Jedi. That's all we've gotten. She had the moment in Empire where she can kind of sense that Luke's in trouble and she comes and helps them.
Sure,
like, that's a little Force moment.
Force sensitive, for sure.
Yeah, but to go from that to like something like, I don't know that Qui-Gon could have survived. You know, like I don't know that Mace Windu can be in space after a ship explodes. Like, it was just such a like, what the fuck? Like, it was just like a tier flip of like, no, dude, Dan's the best character. Like, it was just crazy. It was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do know
what
like, you mean.
Oh no, dude, Ace is Sagat every time. Sorry, I'm not good at these analogies.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Like, it was weird, not what I was expecting. Yeah,
that weird superhero Leia going through space, I like thought was stupid enough, and it just like, okay, sure, what we're doing this now. All right. Like, I didn't actually, it's so dumb, but I didn't hate it, you know? I was just like, okay, sure.
That was like a hard moment for me to deal with. And then the one that like just really got under my skin.
Yeah.
In a way I couldn't rationalize, and like upon reviewing it wasn't that big a deal. But it was like, okay, there's actually a bunch of stuff with Luke too, but that didn't get to me at the time. You know what? Okay, I'm going to say there's 2 then. There's the all the Jedi books being destroyed. That was the thing that really bothered me, but more so because of Yoda's line where he says page turners they were not. I was just like, that's such a fucking stupid thing to say. Don't make Yoda say that. Like, I got really mad about it.
That's
funny. But I was simultaneously so stoked that it was legit puppet Yoda. So it was just like,
yeah,
I hate this and I love this.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do. And then Luke's death was so lame.
Yeah,
I couldn't comprehend how that was allowed to happen. Like, that Rian Johnson wrote that, submitted that screenplay, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, this iconic character. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
That was my big.
I have more early answers.
Like, okay.
One of the things I actually know the moment where I was just like, oh, okay.
Like the bad feeling.
I actually know that moment. I remember the end of Force Awakens being so fucking stoked. She made it to the planet and Luke's there on the cliff edge.
Oh, God.
And she hands him the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And then it ends. And I was just like, freaking
Oh.
out. I was freaking out, dude. And then I remember exactly the part. It's where he takes it and he throws it off the cliff edge and walks away like a kid having a tantrum. And then this whole character building of, oh, I don't really like the Jedi anymore, and my nephew is going to
failed.
be evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He went back to the Luke I hate, the whiny little bitch. What happened to badass Luke?
Because badass Luke was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
So it was at that moment.
I guess I understand like why you might want to like. It's like, oh man, what happened to Luke to make him change so dramatically? Would be like the creative question you want to do with that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Some of my problems with 8 are only because of what happens in 9. Like, doesn't follow through on stuff. Because like 8 potentially sets up some crazy script flipping business that I was like, wow, fucking crazy. But okay, if you can make good on some of these insane setups in this, that's going to be nuts, because that won't be like anything that's happened. Then JJ does not field that pass at all. He throws a tantrum, throws down his glove, and says, "Fuck that! I'm not playing that way," and just like goes and does something else.
But
and
I also kind of don't blame him. Is the thing? It's weird because like JJ was not the person to take it over, but like fucking Johnson should have like done some shit better to like make it easier for the next
Johnson got
person.
to do both, which he didn't.
Yeah.
Like he made Knives Out. Like it's just such a mess of creative.
Also, Knives Out is so
whatever.
good, by the way. It's one of my favorite movies.
It's just like
last year.
So it's like there's no way he's just totally inept at everything. It's just I totally get his. Sorry, I'm doing it again. I totally get his like creative decision to kill the bootleg Emperor. Like that's kind of dope, and I actually like that scene where it just looks cool, like the red room and the lightsaber battle that happens there, and them totally like genuinely surprising me of just being like, oh, crazy, okay,
and
what are we doing?
Doesn't he like cut him in half by pulling the sword?
Yeah, Kylo kind of does something genuinely surprising and kills Snoke. Yeah, and it was like, wow, okay, because that was one of those things in Force Awakens that just seems to be like, no, we're just copying the old movies. We just have a weird, creepy old dude that's like the super powerful Force guy. And then the second one kind of throws that away and says, no, that guy's nothing. Is just like, oh, wow, weird. So the only way they could have made that and Luke's decision to try to kill his nephew make sense is if Kylo gets so fucking evil that it's nuts.
That's what I thought they were going for, honestly. I thought Kylo was going to be
it's more insidious than anything Vader ever did. Like, it's so crazy, sinister, and evil, and depraved, and it's the most messed up. Like Episode 9 is R-rated. Like, it's just, what the fuck is Kylo doing? It's crazy. Adam Driver cannot be contained by the PG-13 rating with the crazy, insane stuff that's going on. But they totally don't do that at all. It's honestly the
only way you could get a Jedi to see what's about to happen and say, for the greater good, I have to kill a child.
I have to kill like my sister's child.
Yeah,
like I have to do
that. I'm training and
what
mentoring.
I just saw is like just Cthulhu grade insane. What's going to happen?
Right,
and
totally.
They totally throw that away in like the opening seconds of 9. Just be like,
the opening scroll.
Like Emperor Palpatine's the real evil. What?
Oh
okay. What? Dude, wait. What?
The first line of that scroll is "the dead speak!" Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Like,
so
oh my god.
Like, honestly, like if I was to just put this list down, like the one that gets the F is the last one, and for being ambitiously shitty, I put Last Jedi at a D. That's what I do, but I understand.
I kind of want them both an F.
Okay. Like, I guess it's just,
I don't know.
There was like aesthetic things that Last Jedi tried, like the Yoda puppet, the Red Room, the Snoke trick, and all that kind of stuff that I genuinely thought was like, okay, there's some stuff here. but it was like that total betrayal of Luke's growth as a character.
Like, yeah.
Which, again, though, like, that's what it seemed like, but I was like, they could redeem this in Rise of Skywalker by going further down this insane path, and then they just backtracked it, wrote lines to wave it away, got into this, like, weird thing where it's like, no, Kylo Ren's actually fine. And it's like, what? Well, okay, like, that's such a cop-out and just nothing then. Like, they just shy away from anything totally different they could have done and just go like, dude, Palpatine was really crazy. Okay, just side note here.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Oscars?
I didn't.
Okay. They just fucking spoil Rise of Skywalker in the best visual effect nominee thing. They just show Palpatine getting vaporized by electricity, like, as the special effects. Like, here's the thing we did for this movie: Palpatine evaporating. It's like, dude, what?
That's
like just no care whatsoever into like maintaining that story. It was just like, wow, okay, like,
that's so
what
good.
A moment. I just wanted to mention that because it just happened. I was like, what? Okay,
so
that moment happen.
I've been trying consciously for the last few months. Actually, I've been like meditating and really like trying to get in touch with how I feel about stuff and using that to guide me a little more than I usually do.
Okay.
And the fact that I had any feelings at all, like that weird tickling in your spine and that weird kind of like unsure butterfly stomach.
What are they doing? Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that there was any of that means that there was still some feeling, because I had nothing in Rise of Skywalker. That whole time I was kind of waiting for it to be done. To say, talk about what was wrong with it.
Like, okay, yeah, like, where Last Jedi, like, genuinely hit a nerve with me, like, hit, like, a funny bone, kind of like, what the fuck? Like, I was so riled up, but, like, it was, like, intense in a way that I sort of respect.
Sure.
Whereas Rise was just so bland. Like, I was just, like, bummed out. Like, it was just crestfallen, like, oh, okay.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I went to see Rise to talk about it with people on the internet directly after about what they got wrong. I went to talk about it. I went for content. I didn't go because I wanted to see it. I was waiting for it to be done the whole time.
Right. Okay. Like, it's just like I kind of put up with Rise of Skywalker, whereas like because Force Awakens teed up stuff, I went into Last Jedi with excitement. And then what I got was so strange and bewildering to me that I was just, I don't fucking know what to do with this. But
I'm okay giving Episode 8 like a 50 or 55% or something, because Rise of Skywalker is easily like a huge fail.
It's just nothing to me.
It's a huge fail.
So, and I guess I still don't get what exactly happened with like critical reception, because movie critics were like so stoked on Last Jedi.
Oh, I know what happened. It hit the talking points that they wanted to virtue signal. I know this is like, oh, Paul's in the weird like SJW black pill thing or whatever. It literally is that. Okay. It's about like the social dynamic,
hero and stuff.
No, the social dynamics and like the like gambling planet was all about that. The like Rose thing. Introduce. Okay. Oh, actually, here's another thing. I actually kind of like Rose somewhat. I think they put too much emphasis on her for what she was, but I thought she was an okay character. And then
I thought they pivoted super weird.
To throw her away completely in Episode 9 is crazy.
Like, yeah, people were saying they kind of did the Jar Jar treatment to Rose because they just were like, oh, the internet doesn't like Rose. And it's like, I think it's more nuanced than that. Like, her suddenly throwing herself at Finn was so weird. Like, I was just like, that's not how I felt this relationship was at all. Like,
but they needed to have it because they needed a person of color and a female to get more spotlight time.
Well, because that's the thing, though. I genuinely thought there was like a spark of romantic curiosity in Force Awakens between Rey and Finn. And then they just kind of start wandering away from that and have to go down like the Kylo Rey direction, which was so weird.
I don't know why they did that either. I kind of didn't want Rey to like be with anybody. I kind of like her as just like being buds with people.
Sure. But that they went like in the like. Oh, okay, actually, just another Last Jedi shine. I kind of liked how he visualized the connection through the Force thing. Like they can just kind of see each other,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they just don't really handle it as well in Rise of Skywalker. Like
Yeah.
they understand that's a gimmick, but they don't even do it right. Like it's like no, like he can't see where she is. That's established in the last one. Here it's like they don't visually convey it the same way where like she's in this on this planet and like it doesn't go like opaque enough behind her to like obscure where she is to the audience. So it's like not exactly conveyed that Kylo wouldn't be able to tell exactly what planet she's on at that time. They're just dumb stuff like that. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting
And
more nitpicky.
And yeah,
but,
Rise of
God.
and like it's another one of those things with Rise
Oh,
of
and they just
Skywalker.
invent a character for Poe to be with, and I
Yep.
didn't hate her, but they just ginned her up. Okay,
Yeah, she was
and
fine.
okay, the ultimate thing though is like okay, fan service, right? A lot of this is just it's so established. It's 40 years of these movies. At some point, it's just you can just get away with fan service, and that's what Force Awakens kind of did. It's just like, hey, remember the Millennium Falcon? Hey, Chewbacca. Like it just does that.
Honestly,
stuff.
it's kind of what we're expecting, though, right? Like
I know, and I
that's
have
why
no
I think,
real issue with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm getting at. Is like I think we both agree Solo is on the lower end of stuff that's not in a main episode. Rogue One is higher. And those are the moments where you want to do something different and like play around. And that can be to varying degrees of success. Like Rogue One we thought is great because it doesn't have fan servicey stuff except for like the few times it does. But like it's a different
Well, just
story.
the Death Star moment I was talking about and stuff, but it like weaves it into the story it's telling.
Right.
Like pretty seamlessly, and it's like, wow, that was just sick. Like
and
that
like,
was just
I know
cool.
some people have said they're sick of like the Skywalker stuff in the episodes. And my whole thing is that's the point of the episodes. Like that to tell the Skywalker saga. So like
right.
I want them
but
to kind of keep to a formula for this.
Sure. Okay, no, for sure. But what I was getting at is Rise of Skywalker like had so many opportunities where they could have just slammed a sick dunk on me and just made me go, you know what, that's fucking great. And they just missed so many opportunities. Like it was just they would set up a moment and then not pay it off hard enough.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's true.
And the main one for me was like that giant fleet shows up at the end. And I was like, okay, you know what? If you're going to like just start slamming like just character, alien, like just kind of start jumping from cockpit to cockpit and it's everything you ever liked from Star Wars, this movie might still get a 7 or something. Like this could pull it out right now. And then they did Wedge. That's it. Like they just didn't do anything. Like it was like you could have fucking put like it was just Lando and Wedge, and Lando had already established earlier in the movie. Like they could have just started showing tons of characters. I guess Wicket briefly appeared, but that moment didn't like jam the way it needed to. You know, like okay, just to like tangent off. It's not on this ranking. Like it's stuff Mandalorian was quietly just doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Like on Disney Plus.
Mandalorian is honestly the Star Wars thing I've cared about in years. The only one I've cared about in years.
It's just easy stuff. Like just like, oh, is this guy the same race as like Darth Maul? And that's it. Just have a little thing that's like, oh, maybe this is a thing. Like, oh, hey, they're roasting those creatures that Jabba's minion was. Perfect. Like just a little like continuity of the universe as a thing, and then have a little moment on it. Like just speeder bikes are a thing. Let's have another moment with a speeder bike. Perfect. Like just the sand crawler's great. Let's have a sequence with the sand crawler. Like it's just easy stuff that they could have done, and they just kind of have this insane pyramid, and Palpatine summons ships that are manned by something somehow. I don't know. Like it's just it reminded me honestly like that moment of like the big fleet and all that stuff. It was like the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie where thousands of pirate ships show up and you're ready for the sickest fight ever, and then 2 of them fight. Yeah. Like it's just like it's like you think something awe-inspiring and like just insane is going to happen, and then it doesn't. and it's like the dumbest. The Knights of Ren just don't get anything. Like, just
oh no, they turn on him randomly at the end.
Yeah, and then a super kind of lame
9.
fight happens with like the weird passing the lightsaber through the Force or something. Just all the hooded figures that weren't anything and like meant nothing.
They could have been actual races or like other Sith.
Like stuff that even the prequels, like the Senate, where it's just like, oh shit, there's like Wookiees in there. Oh, look at that. There's little ETs. That's a nice little tip of the hat to Spielberg. Like, just tons of opportunities for just fan servicey shit. And they just go, no, they're all just in hoods. They're totally indecipherable in hoods. And it's like, you could do dumbass cameos. Like, do something with it. Just have anything here. And it's just shapeless faces, like faceless just entities. Yeah. And then, I don't know, like just... it had the perfect setup to just win me over, and it totally failed, and I couldn't forgive it for that. So that's why that's the worst one for me. And I guess it's, like each one's worse than the last, but that's how it sits for me.
I've gotten 50% before on assignments that I just kind of phoned in. And those assignments were basically like, well, at least you tried to do something.
You tried to do something.
Right. Like, so that's why I'm kind of okay with that there.
Yeah. But this one was like, no, you had the playbook. Like, you had all the material you needed to pass this test, and you just got it all wrong.
Yeah. So I think it's maybe a case of his ego also being like, well, I just want to make another Star Wars or whatever. It's like, well, that was taken away from you. You can't do that now. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. I know you wanted to, and frankly, buddy, I wanted you to. I wanted you to do all three of them and just make another Star Wars trilogy. I wanted that. But you can't. That
can't happen now, so you need to, like, just suck it up and actually fit the stories together.
Yeah.
Instead of just, like, stubbornly not doing that.
And he failed, miraculously.
Yeah. So... And oh my god, it kind of creates weird issues with just like, so wait, you do have to be born to a powerful Force user for this to happen? Whereas like 8 started introducing this like democratized Force thing where like that little kid had Force abilities.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's just kind of like, hey, like a hero could come from anywhere. It could be you. And it's like, that's a cheesy moment, but at least there's like something there instead of just like, no, granddaughter of the evil guy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Or daughter, I guess? Just straight up daughter?
No, I think granddaughter.
Granddaughter? Okay.
Yeah.
Like just, I don't know. Okay, anyway.
I want to take a moment also to just say Rey's the biggest Mary Sue I've ever fucking seen in any movie series ever. I can't believe how much they did that shit up. She literally has never had a problem in any of those situations she's in, and she, like, the first time there might be a problem, I'll just use Force Heal to bring you back from the dead. No problem. Like, oh
my god, Force Heal introduces so many problems too. Like, as much as an issue, like the wait, can you just fly light speed at stuff to destroy it? Like the Holdoon maneuver totally shatters some stuff, and then they totally have a line that's just like, yeah, that was a 1 in a million chance. Or whatever. It's like, no, you just point at the thing and go real fast. Like, it's pretty intuitive.
I can do it in real life. Yeah, if I wanted
to. That they just force heal. You can just kind of go magic and anything. It's like, well, Luke's hand isn't that big a deal. Like, I didn't see Jedis using it in the prequel trilogy when like they get stabbed from Order 66 or something. It's just like, oh, no big deal. I got Force Heal. Like, it's like, this doesn't work. You can't have this happen. Like, and then they do it and they transfer life and everything, and then Kylo still dies. And I was like, what are you doing?
It's like, so good.
Like, you've totally betrayed 8 to make Kylo redeem himself, and then you don't even get to have him anymore. Like, it's just such a screw up. It's just not, I don't know. Yeah, I only saw it the one time. Like, I begrudgingly went back to 8 like a year later to reappraise it. I'm so much less excited to do that for Rise, because it's just like,
We should almost
just
watch it
know
together with like a mic running. Just do a
and a
commentary
lot of
track.
beer or something. Or something.
A
Yeah.
lot
just
of
like,
beer.
oh God, no, not this scene.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Okay.
this is our tier
Solo.
list.
I just want to mention like just that fan servicey stuff I was talking about.
Yeah.
That movie gets some of that right, just with like, hey, Darth Maul, like just easy
Totally.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like Lando. Remember Lando? Yeah. He lost the ship in a card game. Here's that card game. Like just stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Donald Glover's great as young Lando too.
yeah. And I didn't mind his robot buddy. Like she was fine. Like and she got integrated into the computer of the ship. Like it was just this like, okay. That's sort of fun, like background lore that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Let's start cementing some stuff in here. I think
Okay.
D and F are completely good.
Yeah, like even with like any caveats I'd put on like positive qualities, it's more like my hatred for Last Jedi mellowed, but my just total disappointment with Rise didn't go away.
Yeah.
I
think
wow,
A
I'm
is
looking at these
solid.
prequels.
Rogue One. I think it's B and C, and maybe we can like look at S as well.
I like the originals so much, it's hard for me to demote any of them. Like it's kind of each one gets a bonus. Okay, Empire's just rock solid.
It is.
Like there's the it doesn't end thing, but there's another movie coming and it knew that at the time, so that's fine. Like Star Wars is getting a bonus point because it started the whole thing, even though it's like obviously the jankiest in terms of
Episode 4, I think, is a solid 8, and then plus 1 point, making it a 9 out of 10, I think seems super reasonable.
Just like for legacy.
Yeah.
I love Alec Guinness in it as well.
Yep.
But like his sword fighting notwithstanding, which that wasn't, the playbook hadn't been written yet, so I don't blame them either. Like it's like, oh, we can get a stunt guy in if we needed to do that, but we don't.
For me,
I love that garbage monster also.
It's obvious. Empire is a 10 for me. It's like the one that would get probably a perfect score for everything, rewatchability and stuff. It comes on the like basis that you have to already care about the characters from the other one, which is why that gets a +1 automatically to me.
Okay.
And the thing is that Return is naturally a 9 for me without a +1.
But it's like right at that 90%, so it's like, like, yeah, it's like, are we giving it a 90 or an 80?
So like,
I feel it has to be upgraded just because some of those effect sequences and battle sequences are so perfectly executed.
If we were
like,
ordering
just some of my favorite stuff
in the line,
right,
it would look like this to me, probably.
Wait a minute. Is further to the right? Oh, okay. Like on a left to right percentage scale.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Like the closest to 100 is Empire.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can go with that. Like, even though I have like just dizzy fondness for 4 from my childhood, like 6 is more creative.
I like
there's wilder stuff to be seen there.
And whatever, 6 has the nostalgia for me. That's the one that like I watched a bunch of because I saw them all as a kid, but Return of the Jedi was the only one I had on tape at home.
Like we're talking about like weird, like, you know, like that nauseating feeling you were just that, like, not that, but like just a terror, like an actual sheer terror when I was a child. Palpatine was so scary. Like I was just like, what the fuck? What is that? Like I was a little Christian kid, so I obviously didn't say that. But
yeah,
eyes wide, just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Whatever, this guy, like, just that is so evil, that guy. Like I just couldn't deal with that. Like him electrocuting Luke and everything at the end was like genuine.
Yep.
Like, oh no, like just totally caught up in it. So yeah,
and Vader
rocking it.
Vader dying and like the like moment between the son and father, like before he dies.
Incredible stuff. Like I thought that was just pure drama. It was okay.
There's only one thing in A. We can change that, but I think that's a solid 8 for me.
Right. Like I don't want to upgrade Force Awakens because it kind of doesn't get to pay off.
Totally.
Like, and that's not exactly its fault, but that's what happened. So I
kind of don't want to upgrade anything to A. I think A is good for just Rogue One. Myself.
I feel like like for my feelings, the prequels are getting a little like not positive treatment here. I would probably put both of them.
We're gonna have to.
I would
go
probably
through
put
these.
both in a B personally, but I understand issues with just the pacing of 2. Like the last half hour is really exciting, but you have to get there, and not all of that stuff is good.
We could kind of just do this like as a numbers thing too, where we give.
I find the pacing argument a bit crazy with 3 because I feel that movie like starts on the gas pedal, like the saving Palpatine and then crashing a ship into Coruscant is just like the dopest stuff. And like, if you dig Grievous, I love Grievous. Yeah, but if you don't like what like
the problem I have with 3 isn't pacing. Lame. It's basically just I hate the acting in it, I hate the writing, and I still don't like the special effects.
So is it like what Palpatine's doing just comes across as sheer corn to you?
No, the Palpatine stuff is okay, but I wish they had maybe spent a little more time in his like
transition to being total evil.
Yeah, I think if anything, that's the pacing sin.
Do you have issue with him lightsaber fighting? Like, do you? What are your feelings on the Yoda, Palpatine duel?
Oh, where they're just like throwing Senate seats at each other?
Yeah. And just flying around like just corkscrew lightsaber nonsense that Palpatine's doing.
I basically like beside Duel of the Fates, I basically don't like any of the fight scenes in any of the prequel stuff.
Okay. Like I'm gonna then jump to Mustafar, like the totally just all out but totally silly like brother versus brother thing that happens there. I don't know if I like it because it just goes forever.
It does go a long time. It's true.
Like John Williams is doing everything he can to make it matter, and it's like
he's the hamster on the wheel.
We need more French horns in here. We need them. We need all the dramatic power we can summon.
It's so good.
Still so cheese, but I don't know.
Like the problem for me isn't even cheese though, because I like good cheese sometimes, which is why I like the like not from a Jedi and like all that stupid Palpatine stuff from like their discussions and whatnot, and the where
can I learn this power? Yeah,
like I'm fine with all of that stuff. It's honestly I just don't like any of the fighting, which is a real bummer.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of it.
Let's
we're getting into if we want to get into the weeds a little.
Yeah.
Like, how do we feel about the weird, like the prequels just upgrade R2-D2 in such an insane way? Like, it's just like, oh, he can fly, he can shoot fire, like he's just doing all this insane shit. It's like, did all this break or something? Like, he can't do any of that. He's just this barrel that Luke has to deal with on Dagobah.
It almost would have made more sense if they had like a different droid in that time that did break, like a prototype or something, because he does a lot.
It's just like super duper R2-D2, and then it's like he or something, like he can't bust out the jets anymore. Like the stuff he's pulling off in episode 3 is just nuts. He's like spraying droids with like hot oil and then lighting them on fire, and it's just like never again would R2-D2 be able to do any of this stuff. Now I'm just thinking about C-3PO and the insane like shit they pull with him in Rise, where it's like, oh, he's gonna forget everything. It's a super dramatic moment, you guys. He's gonna forget all of the adventures.
They backed up his memory.
Oh no! And it's like, no, R2 totally, his hard drive's fine. And
that's the problem.
What are you doing?
There's no balls to anything. Like, oh shit, Chewbacca just died. Nope, different ship.
He's dead.
Different transport.
Oh. Then why would I care?
It has no balls at all. Oh.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm so mad. Also,
we danced around. Yeah.
This is the perfect.
Oh man, we didn't even get into like,
Okay.
Carrie Fisher's death totally impacted the sequel trilogy.
Sure.
In a way that like I wasn't sure the best way to handle it would have been, but like 8 just kind of doesn't blink and pretends it didn't happen. And that's so odd in the way it ends up working out. Cause it's just like, I totally don't know that works. Like maybe you should have had her do the whole Doom maneuver and call it the like Organa maneuver, and it's like the dopest thing, like the sickest sacrifice to save the rebellion. And then Laura Dern is just here. Like maybe that would have been better, but instead they kind of try to like patch together, like, no, she was totally training Rey and all this. And it's like, this is so clearly not finished in a way. Like it,
Yeah. Agreed.
In bad circumstances, obviously, but like leaving 8, that was like why did they just pretend nothing happened? Because this is going to cause problems in 9, and then it totally did.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah. Just wanted to acknowledge it. But okay.
Give a number out of 10 for episode 1.
8.
See, I'm at a 7. So we're at a 7.5, 75%. Yeah, that's still in this.
Like, it's like on that. Yeah, okay.
I'm almost thinking Force Awakens goes down 1. I don't know.
Like, if we're looking at, like, it's right on those lines. Like, I feel like both. Okay. Honestly, like, Force Awakens, Revenge of the Sith is close to an 8 for me, but I understand you really don't like it, so I don't want to upgrade it.
Wait. Return of the Sith is 8? That's probably Revenge 6 for me.
Okay.
So 14.
Like,
that's still a 7. Like
if we put it right at 7, like, it could sneak into the B category, but on the lowest end of it.
Or like the highest end of. The problem is there's no. I wonder if you can get like a grid.
I feel if we gave it like a true 70%, that's fair, and then like Attack of the Clones being like a 65 or something, and then Han Solo's a 67.
So
I guess
at this point, what you almost want to do is this, right? Like where you add 1% plus
like 59% or something,
just to like.
Oh, okay. Better stratify them
just
a little bit.
Just to showcase, yeah.
Okay. If we're doing like left to right, I'm putting episode 1 ahead of Force Awakens. Like slide it to the
for
right.
Sure. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Like, that's closer to an 80% than Force Awakens is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my positives for the end of Attack of the Clones upgraded over like Woody Harrelson is kind of cool. I don't know.
I'm kind of okay with C where it is, honestly.
Okay.
I think Solo and episode 3 would probably. They're all all 3 roughly the same score for me. They're all about a 6 out of 10 for me.
So is your issue with like the action sequences in the prequels just they're too cartoony looking? Like the CG's too
I just
CG?
hate the choreography and I don't like the CG. Yeah.
Okay.
I also don't like the Clone Wars cartoon. Like, I don't like that style at all.
Okay. And they get pretty, like, goofy with C-3PO in episode 2. Like, his robot Mad Capri in that facility. Like, his head getting switched off and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just want to mention it.
Okay, fair enough.
And, like, can you bring in extra media stuff into the equation? Because, like, pod racing is really cool. And that video game's really good.
That video game is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some fast racing.
Yep.
Whereas episode 2, like, there's a lame GBA game. So, yeah, I guess it's on the low end of the scale.
The prequel trilogy was such a bad time for me in drinking Coke. Drank Coke so much for those cans with, like, or Pepsi, was it? With Pepsi, Yoda on it.
Yeah, there was characters
Pepsi.
On all the Pepsi. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, dude, I have Counselor Valorum. Like, Chancellor Valorum's on this mountain. It was a really dumb time. I kept a bunch of those for, like, years. Just in a box.
You still have them?
No, I recycled them.
Yeah.
I should have kept them an extra decade, I guess, in hindsight.
Yeah.
But, because I'd be so close to just, like, pulling and just be like, look at that. Sepulba. He's on this Dr. Pepper. It was such a great time for Star Wars validation. But
I'm kind of okay with this tier list.
Okay.
The way it reads.
I mean, like, the asterisks would just be like, I still dig the prequels and would watch them more than this list would seem to indicate, but this is all just Star Wars movies relative to each other, not all movies in existence. So,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, could you imagine doing one of these for every movie in existence? Oh, that'd be kind of dope.
That would take quite a while.
Like a full
and let's
year.
start right now. So, Apocalypse Now, how does that rank compared to what we're looking at here? And
honestly, probably a D.
Redux, yeah. I kind of like the Redux. So this guy at this party was saying, it adds too much. It's not good, but I don't know, man.
This guy at this party?
This guy at this party was saying the Redux was no good, and I honestly never saw the original cut, so I wouldn't know otherwise.
I actually haven't either. Fair
the only experience I've ever had, yeah. But, man, Martin Sheen punches that mirror? Anyway, okay.
I think that's a list.
That's a list. Star Wars.